Final question, getting back to this serious, credible image you want to project for the party. Did it help when you stood up in the European Parliament, faced Mr. Van Rompuy, the new President of the European Council, and called him, he said he has the appearance of a low-grade bank clerk, and you said to him, you have the charisma of a damp rag. Childish insult. Does that further your political cause?
Well, have a look at what happens in the House of Commons every single week. Have a look at what happens in parliaments all over the world.
But I'm asking you a direct question.
Does that
sort of childish approach to politics, no substance, just insult, does that help your campaign to be a credible politician?
I'm sorry, I wouldn't accept that. If I hadn't said
well,
those
what bit
things,
don't you accept? It was childish, it was insulting, it
no,
certainly wasn't substantial.
I think that's part of normal give and take that goes on within a
personal abuse.
Well, it wasn't.
Does it? Well, of course it was.
I mean, no. So this is very strange, isn't it? You know, I can stand in the European Parliament, and all sorts of terms of abuse can be thrown at me. I make a mild, sort of half-jokey comment about this man's total lack of charisma, which is pretty evident to everybody, and this is suddenly an outrage. All I will tell you is that right across the world, we have had a huge feedback to that speech, and my basic question was, who on earth is this man?
What sort of feedback?
He hasn't been voted in.
Hang on, we're nearly out of time. I want to ask you something else. What sort of feedback have you had to the fact that you're now allied in this bloc, Europe for Freedom and Democracy, with MEPs who have a record of anti-Semitism, of anti-homosexual comments, of discriminatory comments on a whole range of issues? What sort of feedback have you had on that?
We've drawn some very careful lines in that Parliament, and there are many political parties who wanted to join our group that we have said no to. We do not want to be part of your group.
But for example, the Northern League, who've dismissed immigrants from Africa as bingo bongos, they've called for racial segregation on buses, they're acceptable. They came in under
the Northern
your
League have all sorts of wild and woolly voices within them. They are, of course, in coalition.
But they passed your approval
They are,
threshold.
of course, in coalition with Mr. Berlusconi, so perhaps you better ask him that question. The Northern League...
I'd love to ask him, and asking you now.
The Northern
you
League,
think that's all acceptable?
Do I think the Northern League is a racist political party? No. Do I think there are some people within the Northern League who say some things at times that are pretty silly? Yes. But, you know, you can make this argument of every group inside the European Parliament. The British Tories get this criticism, the British Labour Party get this criticism. There are different political cultures within Europe. The important thing for us has been to make sure that we have had leadership of the voice of opposition within that European Parliament since 2004, something which I believe we've used very effectively to highlight that people like Herman Van Rompuy are running our lives and they're not subject to the ballot box.
We're out of time. Nigel Farage, thanks very much for being on Hard Talk.
Cheers.
Thank you.